The fear that gripped Elizabeth was too overwhelming that she couldn't even lift a finger. Jonathan shook her vigorously, frustrated and worried at the same time. He dampened on a towel in a bowl of water to wipe off the sweat from her face. Musa, the other comrade, frowned. She keeps being a burden, he thought out loud. Elizabeth let out a loud gasp suddenly, finally forcing her eyes open to realize she has been dreaming. She held on tight to Jonathan as the weight of the dream clung onto her. "You had a nightmare," Jonathan began, but Musa cut him short. "We need to leave immediately or we'll be surrounded," Musa exclaimed. At that, Elizabeth was forced to regain composure. The sound of approaching footsteps made her heart race, fearing that her dream may turn reality. "I'll cause a distraction," Musa said. He planned to draw the pursuers toward himself and lead them away, giving his teammates the chance to escape in the opposite direction with the stolen map. Perfect. Wait, what? Elizabeth asked as her emotion shifted from relief to disbelief. What if something bad happens to you? What if you get caught? The comrade's mind was made up. What was more important was getting the map safely to their country. As they parted ways, Musa's voice echoed loudly, luring the enemies toward him. The sound of gunshots, rustling leaves, stomping feet. Elizabeth's heart was weighed down with guilt. Maybe if she hadn't drawn the enemy's attention, they would be escaping safely. She ran steadily behind Jonathan as they got further away. Her breath tightened, but she kept going. She wasn't going to drag them down, not again. At a time, Comrade Jonathan turned. Seeing how she struggled for breath, he slowed down to a halt. "What? Why?" Elizabeth asked, catching up with him. "We need to keep moving. We can't let Musa's sacrifice be in vain." "Are you alright?" Jonathan asked, ignoring her puzzled gaze. "Let's take a break," Jonathan said. He cleared a spot with his bare hands and gestured her to sit. "I think we need to keep moving, sir," Elizabeth said, not sure how well to respond to the situation. She was sure his attitude had ignited something in her. "Why are you being nice to me?" "Don't get ahead of yourself," Jonathan said, trying best to sound nonchalant. "I see it all the time, even now, the worried look in your eyes when I face difficulties." She paused, waiting for his response. There was a moment of silence between them. The atmosphere was tensed. "Like I said before, don't overthink things," Jonathan said, unpacking his bag to bring out a can of dried meat and bottled water. Elizabeth sat down beside him reluctantly. He threw another piece of dried meat in his mouth before passing the rest to her. Elizabeth began to eat. After a while, he became anxious, looking continuously into the distance. He pressed his palm hard on the ground as if to confirm his suspicion. Elizabeth was confused. "If you keep going left, you arrive at a dock. Some people would be waiting for you and you will get home safely," Jonathan said suddenly. "I don't understand. What about you?" Elizabeth asked, stammering. "Our pursuers are not far from us, and we have to cause a diversion." "No, not again," Elizabeth snapped. She felt a lump in her throat as she fought back her tears. "No more sacrifices. First it was the farmers, then our teammates, Musa." Jonathan leaned in, trying to express his reasons. "The chances are odd. We need to go back safely together." Elizabeth cut in sharply. "I can't bear any more guilt. Jonathan, I'm not going to lose you." Jonathan frowned, his expression stricter. "It's an order." At that, he handed her the map and coerced her into the pattern. As she ran off, she heard echoes of voices behind her, like a crowd of soldiers. Her heart sank, knowing Jonathan couldn't escape so many pursuers. When she arrived at the dock, she met people who recognized her. She hesitated, looking back for Jonathan, but he never came. They gave her a thick cloak as she was shivering. When the ship moved, her last hope for Jonathan faded, and tears finally streamed down her cheeks. On arriving at the camp, her fellow comrades were already anticipating her return. They saluted as she walked in. She felt this sense of pride that comes with accomplishments. "At ease, soldiers," she said firmly and headed to the general's office, the voices of cheers echoing behind her. "You did it," the general said with a broad smile as she handed him the map. "You proved that female comrades are capable and saved our country at a time," he said again, feeling satisfied. "At what cost?" Elizabeth asked, her eyes fixed on her feet as she thought about her teammates. "Sadly, there has not been any news concerning their return," the general said, as if he had read through her thoughts. Later on, Elizabeth was rewarded with a promotion. Her new badge bore the inscription, Colonel Elizabeth. She was also given a 3-week break off camp. She got recognition within the camp and also upheld the dignity of other female comrades. On the day she was to leave camp, her female mates helped her pack up. "You don't become colonel," one of them teased her. "Sure you know the kind of training waiting for you?" another asked her. They went on and on with their questions, some asking about how it felt to work with Jonathan. Elizabeth busied herself with a novel. Not long after, there was the sound of scream and cheers, which quietened to whispers. The ladies left Elizabeth's bag and went out to eavesdrop. Elizabeth couldn't hold it in either. She rushed to witness. Make way," a comrade ordered. Elizabeth gasped when she saw who was being escorted. It was Jonathan and Musa. Her eyes widened with excitement. As much as she wished to move closer, she restrained herself. Her teammates were back alive, though wounded and exhausted, looking terribly tattered. Elizabeth postponed her plans to leave camp, hoping she would get the chance to meet with them sooner. But that never happened. She heard they were being treated at the infirmary in camp. 1 week passed without her getting her chance. She decided to leave before her time off expires. At home, her mother and sister, Anita, were glad to have her back. They were surprised when she told them of the task she had to handle. Her mother spoke on and on about how massive a Thanksgiving celebration she was going to hold in church for her safe return. That night, Elizabeth slipped into her night dress, the thoughts of Jonathan still weighing on her mind. She kept checking her phone from time to time, hoping for a text or call. Then, there was a knock on the door. Anita walked in without waiting for a response. "Sis, you have a letter," Anita said. "Who sends letters in this era?" Elizabeth asked and rolled her eyes, uninterested in the letter. But as soon as Anita called out the name on the envelope, she sprang up from bed. Yes, it was a letter from Jonathan. "Are you that excited about the sender?" Anita asked, eyeing her suspiciously. Shoo, out of my room," Elizabeth said, playfully chasing her kisses away. She sank back in bed as she tore the letter open with lots of expectations. "I have never seen this side of sister before," Anita said to her mother, coming down the stairs. "I wonder who that lucky man is," her mother replied. "I will take the name to my pastor tomorrow." "Haba, call Christian." Mother and daughter laughed.